So, hello, second take. I messed up on something in the first take, and it's a one-shot video. It's like a one-take video. So, I decided I was going to start 100% over. So, welcome to my channel. Hi. This video is like a book haul. I already had these books, but it's more like what I'm planning on reading in quarantine / what you may or may not see in a book review. So, I'm gonna break my nail. I'm trying to make a thumbnail. Let's get into it. So, put that down, because that is hefty stack of books. So let's start with what I'm like currently reading. So right now I'm reading Howl's Moving Castle, but it's in a series, so I'm going to be reading all of them. And it is by Diana Wynne Jones. So I'm reading the first one. I'm like a fourth of the way through. I was originally just going to read the audiobook and listen to the audiobook, but I realized that we had the books, so I just decided to read them. But I did start, I was listening to the audiobook and reading along for a while, so I'm probably going to do that for the whole first book and the rest of them if there are more audiobooks. But, so yeah, the reason I'm reading these is because one of my friends, shout out to Anna, has been recommending these books to me for forever, and we had them in our house, and she read them, she listened to the audiobook like a little while ago, and she would not shut up about how amazing it was, so I just decided I would read them because I got the time now. I'm not going to handle these badly, but so that's the first thing. They are supposed to be really good according to Anna, but I hope they're really good, so. And then, this one. I remember this one. I forgot about this one initially because it's so early on in the first take, but. So, book is called What Girls Are Made Of by Elena K. Arnold. And it's a really interesting looking book. It's got like this cool scribbled out face on it, and that's what kind of drawed me in. But it's sort of interesting because it's basically this like realist, very like almost cynical girl, but not quite cynical, just very realistic, like overly realistic. It's just this very realistic girl who has always felt that love was 100% conditional and that there is no such thing as unconditional love and undying love. And she understands that, but she still understands the appeal of love. But when she gets her heart broken, then she, like, completely, it throws off her whole concept of love because she did everything for him. And it's, like, really, I don't know, I haven't read it before, but I like the description, and it's more YA, it's more like spunky YA, and I don't read a ton of YA, I read a lot of middle grade, and like adult novels, honestly, so I haven't read a ton lately either, so and I'd never read a ton of YA in general, so I've just been wanting to get more into YA, because technically, I am a young adult. So I felt like this would be just a good book to read. So I decided to read it. I'm going to read it. And you guys will probably see a book review of this if I ever, am able to post videos that are longer than 15 minutes. But this will be really good, I feel. So I'm excited. I'm really excited for that one. And this one. I love this one. I haven't read it before, but I love the idea of it. So it's called The Miscalculations of Lightning Girl by Stacey McCannelly. McCannely. Okay, so it's The Miscalculations of Lightning Girl by Stacey McCannely. And my mom has been nagging me to read this one for like months, if not a year. She read it forever ago. She read it on Kindle before we had the copy of the book. And she loves it so much. And because it's basically what it's about is this girl who is struck by lightning in a freak accident. And it causes her to have freaky genius math powers, but also it causes her to have massive obsessive compulsive disorder. So and it's really bad. Like, I have obsessive compulsive disorder, but it's not nearly, like, not even close to as bad as hers. Hers is, like, very over the top, like, very crazy, and it's sort of stereotypical, but very, very much heavy. And it's really interesting because I've been wanting to read more books about, like, kids with mental illness. And my mom's always nagging me to be like, you should read about kids with mental illness. It'll make you feel like you're not alone. And so I figure, and she's been wanting me to read this one for a really long time. And I believe her that it's going to be a good book. So I'm super excited about that one. That one is going to be super good. Oh, this one. This one. So this one's actually interesting how I found it. So we just found it in my mom's room, and she told me you have to read this. You have to read this. And I'm just like, why? It's just because, like, because it's the first lesbian book ever in existence. And I'm like, I'm interested. So she says that this is the first book that ever had main character lesbians, like, even lesbians ever. This was the first book that she'd ever heard of that had any lesbian characters. Like, she never even heard the word lesbian before this book. And she says that this book was super ahead of its time, and it's amazing, and I had to read it. She says she was, like, 11, so, like, in the 80s, and this book was old then. And so, like, I have to read some controversial, old-timey lesbian book. So, I didn't say what it's called. It's called Jacob Have I Loved by Catherine Peterson. And it's winner of a Newbery Medal, so it's got a little fake printed on Newbery. So I'm definitely going to read that. That should be... Oh, this one! This one is really interesting. So it's basically about a kid with DID, dissociative identity disorder, which is basically split personality disorder, but it's a more accurate definition of it. So basically, it's a kid with DID whose mom has died or left. I do not remember. I apologize, but I read the entire back of this, and it's basically, so his mom has died or left, and his dad is slowly going crazy, and he is also going crazy, and it's called Crazy, and he doesn't have any friends. It's literally, the back is literally titled Invisible Boy, and it's about how he has mastered the art of being invisible, and he doesn't know how to talk to people, and he's finally found out to be crazy by the school, and they send him to the school psychologist with a bunch of other crazy kids, and he ends up making friends with them, and then the book is all about their, like, adventures and him, you know, and his life with DID, trying to, you know, live life and be a normal kid. It's a lot like Saving Red. I read that book a little while ago, but Red is just a side character in that, and she has DID as well, or schizophrenia, it's hard to tell in that book, but she is a really fun character. I lent that book to Willow, but it's Saving Red. I forget who it's by. I forget what all books are by, but yeah, so this seems a lot like that, except it's a main character actually has DID, and I'm really interested to see how that plays out, so I'm really excited for that one. That one should be super fun. Oh, Bridge to Terabithia. Everyone knows Bridge to Terabithia, but I felt like reading it again, so why not? Like, why not? So, and I've got the time, and I haven't read it in forever. Seems like just forever I haven't read it in. So I feel like reading it again, and oh, this one. So, in the last take, I ended up mixing these two up, the definitions. I mixed these two up because I haven't read either of them, and I forget because they both were about poetry partially. So this one is Finding Perfect by Ellie Schwartz, and it is And it's a really cute looking book. It's got like a binary like texture to it. So if you like see the shine, it's got binary in it. And it's got like a ruler on the side. But it's another book about a kid with mental illness. But this kid's a little younger than the other two. Because the other two, I think, were in high school, I believe. Well, I think Lightning Girl might be in middle school too. But this is another middle school girl. Her name is Molly, I believe. Yeah, Molly. And she has, again, major obsessive-compulsive disorder. And her obsessive-compulsive disorder is getting worse because her mom has left to go and live in another country for work, I believe. And she is basically trying, and Molly, her plan to try and get her mom back is she wants to win this slam poetry competition because there's this big award ceremony banquet thing that will happen if she wins in her honor, and she thinks her mom will have to come back if she wins that. But as she's trying and struggling, her OCD is getting worse. And I'm really interested to see how that plays out. It should be really good. I met the author of this at a book festival forever ago, and she seemed really sweet. So, Ellie Schwartz, you're really awesome. So, and I'm really excited to read your book. So, these ones. So, Feathers, this book, Feathers by Jacqueline Woodson. This is a book I'm not as excited about as the rest of those guys over there, but still excited about it because we just found it randomly in our house and we've had it kicking around forever. I think it was in my room even, and I didn't realize, or it was by my room. And it is about this girl who's like, her name is, what is it? I swear I just remembered it. Franny. Her name is Franny. That reminds me of Frambo, but her name is Franny, and she is wondering all these like philosophical things about this poem that she's read in school, and it's like making her realize all these strange changes about the world around her and the people around her. And there's this new kid at school who is referred to as the Jesus boy, and I found that interesting. And I thought it was written in verse, but it's not. But I love books written in verse, so. And it seemed interesting, so I'm probably going to read that one. I might not during quarantine, but this is another one that I might not read in quarantine. It's called The Nest, and it's essentially about a society of bee people that are like, I don't know, eating people or trying to save the planet. I can't tell based on the very brief description. It's very like vague about whether these are evil bee people or nice bee people. That is quite possibly the weirdest sentence I have ever said. No, it's not. What am I talking about? But yeah, I found this one interesting. This is another one I might not be able to read in quarantine, depending on how long quarantine lasts. I might save this one for when school starts up again, whatever that is. But it's called The Nest by Caitlin Oppel. O-P-P-E-I or L? It's L. Okay. So I'm going to read that one. And then the last book, or rather stack of books, is the entire Anne of Green Gables series. So, I've been meaning to read this series for forever because I watched a little bit of Anne with an E, me and my mom did together, and we were obsessed with it, but my mom was nagging me saying that we couldn't watch it unless I'd read the books because she'd read the books, and it wouldn't quite be the same. So we stopped watching, and I was going to read the books, but I never got around to it. So there's 7 in this series, and we have all 7. And so I figured I might as well read them if I have the time. But it's not my biggest priority, but I am super excited about reading them because I loved Anne with an E. I loved Anne with an E, but I've heard that the books are way better and completely different. So I'm excited to see what the differences are. So let's pull everyone out, shall we? Like and subscribe, please. And